I had the Patriots picking Jordan Love, quarterback, and trying to work on him as a project. You had them going with.
I had them trading up. No, I'm kidding.
So, but Mike, you had him going with Zach Bond. I'm trying to find him on here. Can you tell us a little about Zach Bond and why you thought he was a fit for the Patriots?
Yeah, he just kind of screams Patriot player to me. He's a lot like Chase Winovich that they picked up last year, kind of one of those workhorse sort of defensive players. Can get after the quarterback. Nothing he does is incredibly flashy, but he just gets the job done, and he's a very good tackling defensive player. Just really sounded like a New England Patriot to me at that pick. I think with this happening and with the Chargers getting this pick,
yeah,
this smells like DeAndre Swift to me.
See, all right. So that was my point was who would, because the Chargers don't have another first round pick in this draft. So
right.
I didn't see that. I haven't heard or seen what they gave up.
Haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
But who would they have moved up for? Who's left?
It reeks of DeAndre Swift to me here. I mean, you lose Melvin Gordon. I understand you have Austin Eckler. You really feel comfortable with him, but I really think that this sounds like DeAndre
trade up to get a running back.
See, I don't see it either. I don't see it either.
I just sounds.
I know it's because of all the drama they went through last year at the running back position. You figure that'd be the last thing they want to risk any.
Not only that, the fact that Austin Eckler has become a valuable asset, and he was a no draft capital kind of guy.
Exactly. I mean, you already have proven that the position is a plug and play, puzzle piece.
Although that's partially because Philip Rivers was a drop, a machine, a fucking machine.
What?
The Patriots got a 2020 second round and a 2020 third round for this pick.
So Belichick's trying to reload.
That's what the Patriots do every year. They always trade that top pick for more picks. Right. And it's every year the Belichick comes up with some of the best drafts.
Yeah. All right, let's look at some of the top guys that are available that are still out there. As far as some players go, you mentioned AJ Epineza. He's still out there.
Right.
He was a top 10 in some people's mock drafts.
Yeah, he's a very good.
But top 10 players available.
Yeah, he's a very good defensive player. Whoever gets him is going to get a good, solid workhorse defensive player. He can play the run. He can get after the quarterback. He's a little bit bigger for a defensive end, so that sometimes can be a plus because he can stay in the game for different defensive packages. So he's a good, solid player. What's that?
We still have Christian Fulton. We still have Gross Matos, Trayvon Diggs, a lot of defensive talent still out there. Kenneth Murray, Xavier McKinney.
He's still out there.
Right.
Now McKinney would have been the pick I would have thought the Patriots would have taken had they not traded up or traded out because he's just so talented. He's such a nose for the ball, and he has a great way of baiting quarterbacks and being able to recover.
The pick is in, guys, and it's about to come out, and they were just showing Jordan Love.
No way.
Yeah, let's
no way.
This is I had the Patriots taking Love here at this exact spot.
The San Diego Chargers select.
No, Kenneth Murray, inside linebacker, Oklahoma.
There you go. All right. What?
Wow.
Trade? They must love him.
I can't believe they gave up that much to get him.
Yeah. They must love him.
They must.
Well,
obviously.
Listen, if you're the Patriots, I guess Bill Belichick looks at it like a sucker is born every day. So
yeah, exactly. And he always ends up on the winning side of these trades.
There's still 2 or 3 days of draft left, but who do you guys think is the Patriots starting quarterback week 1 this season?
I think it could be they could go out and get a free agent. If they're going to do it with somebody on their roster, I'm guessing it's going to be Jarrett Stidham, but I'm not quite sure how well that's going to work.
I couldn't even fathom a guess. I mean, we got to wait to see what happens in the draft and the free agents because, they he may sign James.
Draft. They might get someone draft. Someone on their team. If it's someone on their team, it's going to be Stidham. He's the only one on their team that could possibly start, but he's not ready at all. There's tons of guys. I thought, like, even though I hate it, it makes me want to vomit overall. There's like Joe Flacco, Blake Bortles, Andy Dalton.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, but I don't see him as a Belichick kind of guy. I just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you would be surprised what sort of guy Jameis Winston will be if he got an opportunity to play starting quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't know what a Bill Belichick offense looks like without Tom Brady.
Well,
none of us do really.
Last time I saw it was Tim Couch, right?
It would be a feather in his cap if he were to get to the playoffs with Winston and Tampa Bay couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's kind of the point. I mean, Belichick, I feel like there are certain, free agents that make more sense. If he doesn't draft a quarterback, I feel like a guy like Bortles makes sense. Because, again, I brought this up before. New England is not making the playoffs this year.
Probably not, but
that's it.
I won't be surprised if they do.
I will call it right now. New England's not making the playoffs this year. So, for me, I think the most important thing is after this whole, era dynasty has ended, now you have Brady and Gronk in Tampa, right? That's even more salt in the wound. Gronk came out of retirement. He put his WWE championship on the line to come play tight end for Tampa Bay. And I think that Belichick is now going to be seen as the scapegoat of the breakup. And if he goes 3-13 this year, or 4-12, and Brady goes 11-5, something like that, it's going to be a very quick, revisionist history over how it happened.
Sure.
And, even if it's not revisionist, the question will always be, did they have to do it together? Could Brady have won without Belichick? Could Belichick have won with somebody else?
Well, Belichick's already had one season without Brady and went 11-5 with Matt Castle.
Yeah. He went down the first game against Kansas City, I think.
Yeah, he did. Week 1. I was laughing.
I remember. Right in Tyler's face, I remember.
Oh, God.
He's dead!
No, I mean, and that's fine, but I don't think the Patriots are going to win more than 5 or 6 games. I'm in the camp that Belichick was lucky to have Brady, not the other way around. So I think New England needs a freaking quarterback because they don't want to go 3-13 because their fan base will turn, even though they've won, every division title. And
fire him if they go 3-13?
No.
Okay.
No. Fire him.
You said the fan base won't have it. Well,
yeah, just saying.
I hope they go 3-13 for the next 80 years.
I'm with you.
So do I. I'm a Bills fan, man. That's great. Bringing back the Urban Fryer days. I remember watching those games.
Right.
Buffalo whooping on them.
And it wouldn't have been so bad if Patriots fans weren't so insufferable.
Yeah, it's just the bar we go to. But, yeah, they are probably everywhere.
No, it's not just the bar we go to. These dude.
Woo!
Let me
Especially chicks from Boston.
Bastards.
They scream louder about sports than I do.
Oh, my God. They scream louder about 6-yard gains on first down than anybody ever should. Like, Julian Edelman caught a pass from 6.5 yards and screamed like, an 80-yard touchdown pass. It is pretty bad. But
let me just tell you one story that is absolutely Patriots fans. So everybody here knows Brian. He's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And I'm telling this story for people out there that don't know. So the year that they went undefeated in the regular season, we're up at the bar. We're getting ready for the New England-Washington game. One of our other friends shows up. He's a Washington fan. And they decide that they're going to bet shots on this game. And so Brian's like, he's like, I'll take that bet. So about midway through the first quarter, Brian calls the server over and he's like, I'll take 2 shots, put it on his tab. And he turns and looks at him and he goes, hey, what are you doing? And Brian goes, You didn't really think you were going to win, did you?
Brutal, man. Brutal.
Patriots won 52-7.
Yeah, it was an absolute brutal beating. Yeah. Oh, my
that's
God.
tough.
Yeah. All
That's
right. Well, the Saints pick is in.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the Saints at all. So, all right, back on track. Let's get the train back on here.
Well, everything hinges on Drew Brees with the Saints, obviously.
The Saints need defense.
Offensive line.
Well, yeah, they need offensive line. I don't think there's any way they're not going defense here. I think they're definitely going for a defensive player. There are playmakers still available, and I think they're going that way. But offensive line can still work for them.
Well, their defensive backfield's pretty solid because they went and got Eli Apple in that trade with the Giants.
Yeah.
And they have the other Ohio State corner on the other side that they feel pretty comfortable with. So I'm guessing maybe they're not looking at defensive backfield. Maybe a safety, maybe Xavier McKinney here.
Yeah, maybe a safety or a linebacker. And I was actually thinking
Pat Queen.
We're just talking about an LSU guy, local guy, going to New Orleans. I like the fit there. But I do like Xavier McKinney also as a fit there. I thought McKinney would be gone by now into the 20s, but still out there. And I don't think there's another safety yet. As far as I know, McKinney is the top safety out there. And
you could see if they did think that or they wanted a corner, Cam Dantzler from Mississippi State. You also have Jordan Elliott from Mizzou. So there's some guys out there that they might want to take. Okay, here we go. He's about to read the pick. I'll give this to you here.
What we got here? Saints pick is in.
It is.
With the 24th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Cesar Ruiz.
Oh,
That's
offensive line.
That's a really good pick.
Offensive line.
He's going to be on that line for a while
because of Breeze.
Yep. And it makes sense. I mean, you got an aging quarterback. Not quite sure who that next guy is going to be yet, obviously, but you got a guy who could stick around for quite a while for the next guy coming in.
Yeah, I mean, you had Kenneth Murray. He was already gone. You had inside linebacker. That was your pick for them. And I had, let's see here. Where are we at? I had Zach Bond. Is that a linebacker? Yeah, linebacker.
Yeah.
So, they went defense, and it makes sense for them. They have an offensive machine, rolling right now. They got Kamara, they got Michael Thomas, just added Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. If you're talking about New Orleans, this is a team that wants to beat you 40-31 as opposed to beating you 21-17. I mean, they want to go out there and just outscore you. They don't care if you want to turn it into a track meet. They're perfectly fine with that.
He's got a Saints hat.
What's that?
He's got a Saints hat.
Conspiracy.
Oh, wait, the Vikings on the clock. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to take a second to talk about teams that haven't had a first-round draft pick and maybe don't even have one. I'm trying to see here. Let's see.
Yeah, the Houston Texans are one of those.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh,
the Rams don't have
Steelers,
one.
the Buffalo Bills are all part of those. And that's a bummer if you're one of their fans. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, and we don't have a first-round pick. That's sad. The Steelers don't have one. The Texans don't have one. The Bears don't have one.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's a lot of people.
Too.
What's that?
That's why Oakland has two.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's.
No, the Seahawks don't have one.
Yeah, they do. 27.
Yeah, they've got 27.
There it is.
Yeah, they're
I have AJ Epineza going to Seattle, and that's still alive. I like that.
Yeah, and again, whoever gets him at this point in the draft is getting a good player.
Right?
Yeah, Yeah, that's right.
The Rams don't have a first-round pick.
You know what? The Houston Texan fans are actually probably happy they didn't have to watch Bill O'Brien screw something else up.
Brandon,
They need to strip
John
him,
Hopkins.
they need to strip him of general manager duties.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how honestly, why did he end up with that role to begin with?
Almost
Really
nobody
shocking.
anything more than head coach. Very
Right.
few people ever should be more than just head coach. That's enough. That's enough. Like, you need somebody else, like, doing the other stuff.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't give enough. You can't. There's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, the amount of ego to think that you can do both those jobs, to be a head coach and a general manager of a football team at the same time. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
You can put that on the owner, thinking one guy can do it as well. You know, it's just so much work, so many. You're obviously not gonna. If you have one guy focused on players, he's obviously gonna have a lot more time to resort to a lot more players if he doesn't have to divide his time up. It's just retarded.
Oh, man. So Vikings. Oh, no, wait. Niners? Vikings trade
To the 49ers.
Niners.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, what are San Fran's needs right now? What did they already pick up, San Fran, in this draft? They got a did they go receiver? No.
Let me look.
I'm trying to remember who they went with.
I forget.
Wow, the 49ers gave him 3 picks for this trade. Wow.
Whoa, what happened?
The Vikings traded the pick to the 49ers, number 24, for like 3 other picks in this draft, later picks.
Wow.
Maybe a second, a third, and a fifth, something like that.
And San Francisco got Javon Kinlaw. So what do they want here? A wide receiver?
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going with all along.
So then they're looking at.
I have no idea now.
So they have to be.
Higgins is still out there. Love that pick.
Ayuk or Laviska Shenault.
Yep.
No. Denzel Mims, wide receiver from Baylor, could be this pick too. Unless he's. Who are the safeties at San Francisco right now? Could he be looking at filling his old hard-hitting safety role? Okay, here's the pick.
Yep.
He's reading the selection right now. Let's see what it is.
Antoine Winfield Jr.
I do like Antoine Winfield Jr., by the way.
And Brandon Ayuk is still there.
Yeah.
About.
Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver, Arizona State. There's your pick.
There you go. So they went.
I mean, again, filling a need, right? I mean, you lose Emmanuel Sanders, you're filling the void left by him. Yep. I mean, it makes sense, and you're getting a West Coast kid. So I think one of the things that we don't really talk about when we're talking about drafts a lot, you're taking a West Coast kid, he's staying on the West Coast, sometimes not introducing that extra culture shock from a long move that they maybe aren't used to might help them to settle in a little quicker.
Blah. Nonsense.
Yeah.
They travel.
Well, it doesn't matter if you travel. Traveling someplace and living there are 2 completely different things.
Hogwash.
No. Are we just coming up with malarkey? Should we throw that one in there too?
So,
shenanigans.
Dolphins on the clock for the 3rd time.
So this is. I think this is a running back. I think this is the first running back off the board.
We both said DeAndre Swift. I feel like wide receiver with Parker and Preston Williams. They have enough talent. They need a running back. Balaj was awful. Everything else other than Kenyon Drake was awful.
Yeah.
That's part of the offensive line also, but they, hopefully will address that, going forward. I think it makes sense for them to go running back here. But any pick for the Dolphins, and anybody that's good will help the Dolphins, right?
Agreed.
So we'll see. Jeff, what do you
they may think that gives them a good, solid offensive backbone. Quarterback, tackle, running back. They may feel like they kind of have a good, solid foundation doing that. I guess it's probably not out of the realm of possibility, though, if they're not comfortable with their offensive line. Maybe they take another offensive lineman and have it set up solidly going forward. Kind of very similarly to what the Falcons tried to do with Chris Lidstrom and Caleb McGarry. So it could be something like that too.
Yep. And you get like 4 years of cheap nucleus there, right? You got your
right.
running back and offensive tackle, for like $10 million combined for like 4 years. That's a good feeling. If you put a little team together behind them, see what happens, see who's worth it, and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. That just it makes sense. But we'll see what the Dolphins do here. I still, a part of me wants to think that Brian Flores wants to get some sort of first round defensive talent.
Yeah.
So
at this point, like you said, Antoine Winfield, has talent, but they already got the safety position. They replaced Fitzpatrick there with their last pick, or free agency. So I don't know who else is there. Zach Bond is there. I liked him. Raekwon Davis is there. I liked him from Alabama. He's huge. I'm not sure who else they're going to pull into this first round and make an impact right now.
Yeah, you could go with Epinesa. You could go with Etor Gross-Matos if you needed somebody. Raekwon Davis, Ross Blacklock from TCU. So yeah, they're all possibilities.
Yeah.
If you wanted some upfront defensive talent, I think you could get something out of any one of those guys.
And I'm looking at a handful of different ratings going into the draft here. And I got one that has Ebenezer at number 10, the number 10 prospect going into the draft. And we're in the mid-20s. So
right, and it could just be a situation where a lot of these teams didn't think he was a fit, for what they want or what they have. I mean, it's very possible. Or maybe there's something about his tape they didn't like, something they saw in the tape that maybe we haven't talked about that they, put their finger on and said, that's a red flag. I'm not quite sure it's going to work for him.
Yeah.
So I kind of have my doubts about that, though, seeing as though there's so many people that had a consensus on him. Hey, this is a top 10 talent. And now here we are.
Well, and I'm looking at the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 7 picks left in the first round here. And 3, 4, 5 of them for my picks are still there. That can still be picked. So I'm still hoping to hit a couple more here. I got Patrick Queen going to the Baltimore Ravens. Got Trayvon Diggs going to the Titans. AJ Epinesa going to the Seattle Seahawks. So I feel like I might hit a couple more here. I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah, I know Ozzie Newsome isn't the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens anymore, but they love their players out of Alabama at that place. So I don't know if that's transferred to the new general manager. We'll see, but it could be, Trayvon Diggs to Baltimore or somebody like that.
All right.
Miami still has not got their pick in. So under 2 minutes here. Yeah, under 2 minutes, they have not got their pick in yet. Not quite sure why, but unless maybe they're fielding offers for this from somebody in the second round who may want to move up into the first round that, maybe a team. Do the Rams have any second round picks, Jeff?
I don't know. I have to look.
Okay, so maybe it's somebody looking to draft up.
You got the Cygnus.
Yeah. Allergies. Look, we're getting
I'm kidding.
down to 1 minute. 1 minute, and they haven't got their pick in, unless this is a
The internet timed out.
virtual issue. I think they're probably on the phone. I think they're trying to see what they can get for this pick. To your point, you may be right. Maybe they have this pick. They were thinking running back. Okay, here's the trade alert. So it just came up. Dolphins trade the pick to the Packers. What? They're going to do something stupid here.
And the Packers get 10 minutes now?
No, I think they get 6 maybe.
We'll find out here as soon as the clock comes up.
I'm wondering what they gave up. And why would they take Jordan Love?
See, I don't know where this is going now.
I mean, there's so many more things that they need. They need offensive line. They need wide receiver. They could probably use some secondary here. I feel like there's a lot more things that they need than to take what. And honestly, I don't think that Jordan Love is the successor. The Packers pick is already in though, so they went pretty quick. They knew who they wanted.
Well, obviously, if they're willing to make the trade, they better know what they want. That'd be silly.
You would think, but crazier
That was
stuff
great
is
pick.
happening.
All right, now who are we gonna take, guys? We made the trade for the pick. Who are we gonna pick?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
crazier things have happened. See Mike Tice twice. All right, so I don't know. And again, I've been keeping my volume down, so I'm not quite sure what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Mel Kiper is saying that his best available is Jordan Love, Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen would make sense. I know they went and got Kirksey from Cleveland, but they lost Blake Martinez, so a linebacker would make some sense for them. But again, I still think they need some offensive line to replace Balaga. They need some help up there. All right, here we go. Selection. And Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State. That is
wow.
Aaron
Rodgers, I guess.
Well, Mike doesn't look too happy about that.
Were you guys just talking about that?
Oh, Mike's not happy.
Doesn't seem like it. Jordan Love, man. Well, Aaron Rodgers can't be happy either. Man. Who picked before the Packers? I feel like I missed one there.
It was a trade. Green Bay
traded
to get up to get the Dolphins pick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mike's not happy.
Well, listen, the Packers got to realize that Rodgers on decline, and a couple years until it's time. I do think a first-round pick's a little rich price to pay for your possible.
They didn't need to trade up to get him. They could have had. I like Jake Fromm better.
And they could have had him at number 29 wherever they were drafting. I don't think they would. Yeah, I don't see Baltimore, Tennessee, any of these guys drafting a quarterback. So that was a weird pick for me to trade up to 26 to get him. But got to do what you got to do, I guess. Yeah, so I assume that the Dolphins are drafting at number 30 then, taking their first-round pick. So we'll see. Seattle here. I have been going with an edge rusher. I have A.J. Epinesa. Clowney isn't signed yet. They need edge rushers. I think it makes sense. What do you guys?
Seattle? Seattle needs some defensive help, but they could. That's another team that I feel like every year we talk about it. They can always use some offensive line. You know, it like they seem to never really address it, and I'm not quite sure how much longer you can let Russell Wilson run around for his life.
Oh, he's got a few more years.
Yeah, they did that a number of years ago. They sold their soul. I don't remember who it was. They sent to the Vikings, I think, and that was the end of their offensive line. They haven't fixed it since. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah,
why do they need to when Wilson can scramble and make plays?
Yeah, and really, it's what he's best at. So it's kind of the point. I mean, why fix it's not broken?
I mean, the guy. How many times do we see him making plays where he breaks the pocket, coverage breaks down, he's scrambling around back there and chucks it.
That's what he
Like
does.
Don McNabb, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, and he makes these beautiful passes too. These like unbelievable passes when he got that.
It's the baseball history in him.
yeah,
Which also makes him a great quarterback because he knows how to slide.
yeah, right.
I got to tell you, with the Carson injury and Penny not looking great, DeAndre Swift would be pretty interesting. I'd be a fantasy football guy. DeAndre
I don't see them taking a running back.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much
running
comfortable
backs.
with their committee. I think they're okay with their committee, and they, after getting DK Metcalf last year, I think they're looking to throw the ball more. So I'm not sure about running back there, but I do think we'll get a first round running back selected here.
I don't think we will. I think that, like I said, and I've said this a lot, is the running back is a plug and play position.
It won't be Baltimore, Tennessee. It won't be the Packers. It won't be the Niners. It could be the Chiefs. And that's the last pick in the first round. And it could be the Chiefs that go running back.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl without a running back.
They did that last year. I don't know, man. Just saying. It's like
the Rams took Trump candidate. Why would you do that?
Well, then by that logic, though,
and you take Trump candidate.
The Chiefs win the Super Bowl with their team last year. Why make any moves? Of course, you're always going to try to get better.
Well, you get the offensive line, defensive line, skilled position players because you need depth at those positions in order to survive the entirety of the season, because people always get hurt, and it's always about every year. It's the team that survives the injury bug the best, year in and year out. I don't. Every year that the Giants won the Super Bowl with Manning, all 5 starters started all 16 games, didn't miss a play. So it's important that you have not only health but depth if you do get hurt.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the injury bug, like teams like
at those positions, though. I mean, at those positions specifically, offensive line, defensive line.
Yep.
And
I think the Chiefs can use some defense, but I also think too that there's going to be more teams that are going to start to look to the running back in the interest of keeping their quarterback upright and not getting killed. So
that's
you can run the ball effectively.
Anybody can put their head down and run forward.
Right, but that's not necessarily effectively running the football. I agree. Anybody can stick their head down and run. But when you run the ball effectively and you have a running back who's getting good yards per carry and can tote the rock and take the pressure off the quarterback and give the defense something else to think about, it's typical classic 101 football of having another form of attack. And when you get into shitty weather, you need that.
Yeah, especially when it's dominant. Like you saw Tennessee play some great games last year where Tannehill threw 20, attempts. And Derrick Henry had 28, rushing attempts. And a team that can run the ball that effectively takes the pressure off everyone.
Right. I mean,
defense, keeps some pressure. It does a whole lot of things. There's not that many guys that can do that, but the right combination, of line and running back can be a killer.
And I just think that it's the offensive line that makes the running back, not vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair enough. And in a lot of cases that's true, but there are always talents that,
I mean, Saquon Barkley was one of those talents.
Yeah. With Tomlinson, there's always been
Taylor
guys.
Swift is not one of those talents.
All right, well, we got the Seahawks pick coming in here. Oh, nope, that's not Roger Goodell.
That pick just bothers me.
Oh, you're still
Jordan Love, I know you're mad.
You're still chewing on your face. I can see it.
I am kind of surprised. I thought wide receiver was an obvious choice for Green Bay. I went with a lot of receivers in the first round. Didn't turn out that way.
I thought wide receiver, offensive line, or linebacker was a pretty simple thing for Green Bay to do there, but instead you trade up. I don't know what they gave away. Did they even show it? I didn't see.
I didn't hear it or see
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I didn't hear or see it at all, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Seattle was just one of those teams where I just feel like they're like a gatekeeper kind of team where I don't think they're good enough to win a Super Bowl right now. But I think if you can't beat them, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. Like you got to, they're kind of that team in the NFC you got to get past, or be better than to move forward. Seattle did it, or San Fran did it last year.
Right. But every season's different in that I think Jeff was just talking about it, right? Being able to stay healthy enough. Yeah. And if you get some, if Seattle's able to stay pretty healthy and you have some injuries to San Francisco, you don't have any idea that Seattle can't be that team out of the West.
Yeah.
What about the Rams? The Rams could be that team out of the West.
Brutal. That division is brutal.
Yeah.
If they didn't have to play each other, they could all be 12-win teams.
Right.
That is a really, really murderer's row division right now. And it's funny.
It's nasty. Come back to earth this year because Goff is going to be exposed for the fraud that he is.
Jordan Brooks, inside linebacker, Texas Tech to Seattle.
Also on my list. I mean, I don't know this guy. Is he known as more of a rushing, or a rusher of the passer, or?
The last.
I don't know anything about this either.
The last prospect ranking that I saw had him as a third-round prospect. He's a little bit shorter for a wide or a linebacker. He's right at 5'11", 6 feet tall. He's right in that range. So yeah, a little bit of a shock there. I mean, he's a good player. He's a good solid player. He's a good tackler. But I'm not quite sure that he's a end of the first round linebacker.
Yeah, and Pat Queen is still out there, right?
Yeah, he's still out there. I think he's probably he's a better prospect.
Isn't Murray still out there?
Is who?
Kent McKinney.
Oh yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah, safety prospect, Christian Fulton, cornerback at LSU, Trayvon Diggs, cornerback from Bama. I mean, there's some, guys that were pretty much expected to be first-round picks that are still out there. Isn't Gross Mato still out there from Penn State?
He is.
I mean, a lot of people that were, expected to go first round from a lot of different experts that are still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think AJ Epinesa is the one that's falling that is the biggest surprise to me. I mean, we're talking about getting close to the close of the first round here, and he hasn't come off the board. Pretty surprising.
Well, you had them going with Justin Jefferson in your last projection. You had them going wide receiver after going with Marquise Brown in the first round, and then Miles Boykin, I think in the third last year. Still going with receiver in the first round. I had them going with Patrick Queen, linebacker. They lost C.J. Mosley, to the Jets last year, and I think they have a need at linebacker, so I thought it made sense. But Baltimore, I think, is more primed to go on the defensive side. They lost so many of their high-priced and sought-after free agents, as opposed to the offensive side. I mean, I don't know, Jeff. What do you think? You think they're going, have more of a need on the offensive side or the defensive side?
Offensive side for sure. They definitely could use some more weapons for Jackson. I think if you're going to take a running back, this would be the team to take a running back in Swift. I think that would help with the offensive philosophy of Wildcat slash offense that they want to run going forward, because they're not going to run a traditional offense.
Yeah, it's a read option offense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a read option. It's a hybrid of the Wildcats. We want to bring in Swiss Army knives. We want to bring in guys who can play at the running back, run out in the slot, and Swift would be, to me, probably the best player for them to take. Even though I don't think you should take running backs in the first round, but he is a good talent, and he's going to fit their needs in that situation. Even though they have Ingram, and Ingram got some miles on him. He's not a young guy. He's the guy that comes in on first and second down. You're going to need a quick scat back out of the backfield.
Now, they drafted Justice Hill in the third round last year. He showed a little bit of a flash. And that's probably, for me, the biggest thing against them picking a running back is Justice Hill as the next guy up. Because Ingram over 30, and I think is not a great fit for what they want to do offensively. Like you said, I think a faster guy with different weapons and a different skill set is better for their offense as opposed to Ingram. But I don't know if this is the place for them to go for it. I really think they got to make an impact defensive player here. Mike, you had him going for wide receiver originally. Now, with the wide receivers that are gone and what's left, do you still think they go wide receiver? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I still think you should go receiver here, and the reason I say that is because I think we've all had the consensus in other conversations that we've had about, listen, if Lamar Jackson keeps running the amount that he's running, he's going to get killed, okay? Yeah. There's going to be an injury in his future. If you want him to put the ball in the air more, you want him to be a more effective passer, get him some weapons on the outside that he can build a rapport with and be comfortable with, get him some stud receivers. Marquise Brown, to me, again, he's a decent take the top off the defense guy. I think maybe you look for like a Laviska Shenault here, somebody who maybe can give you a little more possession to maybe, allow Lamar Jackson to have a possession receiver. But I still think that if you don't get this guy to stay in the pocket and throw the ball more, eventually he's going to have a shortened career.
Yeah, but is his career, as it were, worth the same amount if he's not running? I mean, if you take that away from him, then what does it matter? I mean, they're only going to win. They're only that good if he's running.
That is the only effect that would have is in fantasy. That's not going to really have an effect on whether they win football games or not.
Yeah, I mean, well, the pick is in. I mean, Jackson's going to be the number one quarterback picked next year, and it'll probably be in the second round in most drafts. In the round in some.
Take him. He's going to be like Pat Mahomes.
Just and real quick to answer your question, I mean, if you remember correctly, and the guy that Lamar Jackson gets compared to most often is Mike Vick. Remember, Mike Vick had his most successful season when he was a pocket quarterback in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So, it's if that's what you want.
And how many years did it take him to become a pocket quarterback? 10?
Well, exactly. No, it's exactly my point. So that's why you should start earlier.
How many years in prison did it take to become a pocket quarterback? No.
That was after his stint in prison.
That's right. Yeah.
So he had 3 years off.
Right.
So
basically,
he's going to get killed.
I mean, not every rushing, yes, it seems like rushing quarterbacks are more at risk. Doesn't mean he's going to be at risk this year.
RG3 quickly comes to mind.
I would take the risk for Lamar Jackson, but the point is, like you said, Jeff, the whole strategy of, late quarterback drafting in fantasy is about getting that next guy that way outperforms where you're drafting. Any quarterback, even I said it last year. I said, if you could guarantee me that Patrick Mahomes has the same season, the same exact season, 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. I still don't know that I would take him in the first round or early second round, just because of the opportunity he lost at position
Right.
2 or 3 players that have to play. So this year, my
Ooh,
guy
Patrick Queen, inside linebacker, LSU.
nailed it.
Yep, you sure did.
Nailed it. Yeah, makes sense. They lost C.J. Mosley,
There's more evidence things are right.
and there you go.
Yeah.
I'm in on
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean it makes sense, and he's a solid player. I mean, he's gonna be able. That's a guy you can plug right in and feel comfortable with him taking over the middle of your defense.
Yep. For sure.
All right. So what do we have? Tennessee on the clock now.
Yeah, Tennessee on the clock. You had AJ Epinesa, who's still there, amazingly. And they can definitely use him. That's for sure. I have them going Trayvon Diggs, cornerback, also still there. Also a need for the Tennessee Titans. So on the offensive side, you got to think they're, I don't want to say set, but, not a lot of first round needs in that sense. Derrick Henry, they paid. Franchise Tannehill. You got A.J. Brown, Corey Davis on the outside. I assume Jonnu Smith is tight end, but obviously not. You're not going to draft a tight end first round, so
Right.
a moot point right now. So I got to think this is either offensive line or somewhere in the defense, right?
Yeah.
That was looking. I went cornerback. I thought cornerback in the AFC with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. I feel like cornerback is a premium in that conference right now to compete with those guys.
Right.
Oh, that's why I went with Diggs. You went with an edge rusher, and also makes sense. Got to get to those quarterbacks. I mean, got to give them a run for their money. Mahomes and Jackson. I mean, I don't know if we've seen for sure that they break under pressure, but I'd assume that's the best chance you have.
Yeah, I would. I mean, Deshaun Watson, that's one of the things. Again, I mean, we're talking about a guy that gets hit a lot.
Yeah.
Now, not necessarily from running or from wanting to run. He's, running for his life because his offensive line is not very good. So, if you're going to get after him, that would, I think would affect his play. And I hate to be this guy, but, if his offensive line's bad and you're getting after him, that's where injuries happen, and that affects seasons. It's just part of the game. So, I would think that you would want a defensive end here. And again, AJ Epinesa can play the run too. So he's not just a pure edge rusher where, if it's a run play, he kind of gets swallowed up and you don't hear anything from him. He can play the run. He's, like I said, a little bit bigger for a defensive end. So I would think he would be a good pick. What do you have, Jeff?
I pretty much agree with you guys. I'm getting to the point to where I have no idea where teams are going to go, considering where my plan was at. So it's, that's where I'm at.
I think defense is a good call for Tennessee at this point. Like you said, it's hard to pick specific players, but I think defense, in general, makes sense for Tennessee.
Yep.
There are a number of positions that make sense for Tennessee. So we'll have Miami next from the trade. I guess they moved down. I'm trying to remember who went up to 26. Who was it? Green Bay, right?
Green Bay.
Big Love. So Miami will be next after that. Pick is still not in for Tennessee.
Yeah,
I get it.
You could see Ross Blacklock here from TCU. He's another guy you could see come off the board here. Mike Vrabel definitely, I think that he wants to kind of win. I mean, with what he has right now, it looks like he wants to win in a conventional throwback way. I'm going to run the football. I'm going to play good defense. I'm going to put the ball in my quarterback's hands when I feel comfortable with it, but I'm not going to ask him to do too much. So it looks like run the football, shorten the game, and play good defense, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, and I like the Blacklock pick. You know, he's kind of an undersized tackle, under 300 pounds. 6'3", and that gives him the opportunity to make plays with speed and disrupt a lot of things that were going on. Allow the edge rushers to really do their thing. I think for Tennessee that makes a lot of sense to get that kind of guy. That is the under the radar pick, under the radar performer. And for Tennessee, I feel like they're that kind of team. They're not flashy. It's all about everyone buying in and doing their job, being a role player, know your role, jabroni.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
So I can see that for Tennessee for sure. Vrabel has that like blue collar, kind of, Zona.
I did want to point out that Tennessee last year, when Tannehill did take over, they weren't that. They were a throw. They were a play. They were coming from behind most of their games, and they had to put the ball in Tannehill's hands, and he was able to bring them back. I don't know if that was by design, and he wants to, like you said, run the football and play defense going forward, but they didn't do that last year, and that's not what they had success doing.
I don't think ever by design you want to be behind in a game. I mean, it's glad to know that it's good to know your team can come back, and that's a great thing to have. But I don't think any coach would say, you want to kind of fight back.
For fantasy purposes, it's great because
that's my point. That's my point. This is kind of where I'm going with this for fantasy.
Well, look at the numbers though. Like the games where they came out, where they came out strong. The pick is in. We'll see what happens here. But the games where they came out strong are the games where Tannehill threw the least. If they came out and didn't give up points quick and scored once or whatever, those are games where he threw the ball 20, 25 times. They gave up points. Oh.
Isaiah Wilson, tackle from Georgia.
Hey. Georgia, putting him out
there. Wow, I got 3 people picked that on my mock draft here.
Really?
Isaiah Wilson, tackle for Georgia.
He looks happy or sad. Happy.
He's got a Tennessee hat on. This one's white.
Yep, I saw that.
Oh, that's a weird hat. It's like Casper, the friendly fucking ghost.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Or a little sperm, or a big sperm, actually, not a little sperm. Gigantic sperm.
Yeah, he's another one of those big road grading Georgia offensive linemen. Just
played
like
up his side at Georgia, looks like right tackle.
6'6", 350.
Yeah, huge guy. That entire Georgia offensive line was like that. Very big guys. Just all of them kind of downhill guys.
I mean, look at him. He's throwing around 180-pound people right now. It's like, come on.
Yeah, the only time that I saw that Georgia offensive line struggle was when they came up against speed rushers.
Yeah.
And speed rushers gave them a very, very difficult time. So I see what he's going for there, right? I mean, you have Derrick Henry, who's an oversized back.
Yes.
You get an oversized offensive lineman. You're going downhill, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, you're putting a hurt on people. In the fourth quarter, they're ready to give up, man. It's like,
kids got a mullet.
I'm over this.
Yeah.
Hit by all people.
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
got
exactly.
A mullet. Oh my God. Oh.
What?
Yeah,
What is going on?
Think about it.
Wait,
Did you got to go watch Vrabel's kids. Oh my God.
Hilarious.
Is he Tiger King right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst cuts I've ever seen. It's like, oh.
So I still
think about it. That you don't even
guy on some of my boards here.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Isaiah Wilson. I mean, guys like that. I mean, shit. You don't even want that guy leaning on you for 4 quarters, let alone running down at you. So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be tired, and especially if you're out there trying to tackle Derrick Henry. I don't know that there's too many guys in this NFL that really want to come downhill and meet him head to head on a run. So
he's really not on any of my lists here. I mean, he's unknown to me, and he's not on my list for even
the Georgia offensive line was good, but they were very one-dimensional, which works great for Georgia because they wanted to run the football. But if you want pass pro out of those guys, especially at the next level, at the NFL level, I think they may struggle with some of the better players.
So now it's Miami's pick at 30. We both picked DeAndre Swift. He's still there.
Sure, go with it.
He's still there. Running back is still there.
Right.
If they wanted him and they traded down and got extra picks and still get their guy, they win big. They have so many picks. The fact they traded down, I'm not sure if it's for more picks this year, but I mean, they're going to have a ton of, new faces, to start the season, for good or bad.
Yeah. And this could be, this honestly could be a spot where you see the big guy from Utah, Lecky Fotu, big space eater in the middle of the defense. But I mean, look, it just makes sense to me to get the running back. But it wouldn't surprise me if Brian Flores wants somebody in the middle of that defense to eat up some space for maybe some of his defensive playmakers to run around and get things done.
Yeah, no, you mentioned that. You've been saying, all around that you expect Flores to have one defensive guy in the first round with all these picks, and we'll see if that happens. I don't know. So we got Miami here, and then who, and then KC.
Okay, so we have Miami, Minnesota, who got their pick from San Francisco, obviously, and then Kansas City. Miami, again, third pick in the first round. There's a lot of different things and different directions that they can go here, which makes it pretty interesting. I'm interested to see what the Vikings do with this pick. I wouldn't be all that surprised if Minnesota found somebody who's in the second round, wants a first round pick, and is willing to give up a little bit to get their guy, and they move back.
Huh. Funny, because even though I thought it was a non-thing before, I think Trayvon Diggs is now on the table for them at 31. So I think cornerback is a need with Xavier Rhodes, being out of town now.
Right. But to your point, do they want to open that can of worms with bringing in his brother? I know you made this comment a few picks ago, or maybe a little while ago, and you said something to the effect of, it's very surprised that Trayvon Diggs and Xavier McKinney are still on the board, and I'm not all that surprised by that, only because of what I said earlier about. Listen, their pass defense, when they came up against good offenses, was not good. And coming into the NFL, knowing that this is a passing first league now, that doesn't, really speak to that. So I'll tell you, it would make sense for Minnesota to pick up Antoine Winfield Jr. for obvious reasons.
Yes, I love that for Minnesota.
Yeah, but we'll see. And Antoine Winfield Jr. to me I think he's the best safety in this draft. He's got the pedigree. He's a solid player. He understands the game at a very deep level from being around it for his entire life. I think he is the best safety. I think he's better than Delpit. I think he's better than McKinney. And I think he'll be a better pro for longer.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's a lot of question marks around a lot of these guys around this part of the draft. So I've got my bones to pick with a lot of these last few picks, honestly. And Miami, I think, has to go running back here. I don't.
Well, the pick is in, so we'll see.
Yeah, and McKinney, I thought was maybe the pick for them before. I liked it. Now I'm not really so set on it. I had them picking McKinney at 18.
Right.
So if they wind up with McKinney now, I'll hit 2 of their 3 picks. That's cool, but I still think it's kind of weird for them to not go with him early and then go with him now. So.
Yeah, and it would be. I just wonder if they don't.
DeAndre Swift right now.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor. J.K. Dobbins. I honestly, I know all the draft guys love DeAndre Swift. I actually like J.K. Dobbins the best out of all three.
Yeah.
And I think
Kinda
Jonathan.
I kind of like Hilaire's footage and his tape from LSU. I thought he was great.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins, I think, is the best back in this class. But he didn't run a very fast time. And then you have Jonathan Taylor, who put up just stupid numbers in college. And then, oh, by the way, ran a 4.3 840 at the combine. So he moved up a lot of boards. But everybody still seems to think that DeAndre Swift, and you have the Georgia pedigree there, right? I mean, Georgia has put running backs in the NFL, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, of recent memory, Todd Gurley. And then you even go back to, guys like Garrison Hurst. And, so they've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. No, I love, Georgia running back pick. I really think that's the way to go. We both had it at 26. Now it's at 30. I think it's the right pick. It is tough though, because, especially with running back, like Jeff said, if you wait till the second round, the financial obligations lower significantly, especially for options and stuff like that.
I gotta throw this out there, right? Because we've seen Brian Flores throughout this draft because they've had 3 picks, right? I mean, Does this guy have a Starbucks like in his house? I mean, Every time we see him, he's got a different cup of coffee. I mean, what is this guy's deal? Dude, he's got to be jacked up right now with all the caffeine he's had.
I don't know if these mugs have a different message. I can't see it, but maybe that's it. Maybe it's they're reading something out throughout the night.
Right. Maybe it's Irish coffee.
Run now, run.
Whoa. Noah Igbangini from Auburn, a corner. Let me tell you, that is a bust pick, a massive bust pick. He is, to me, one of the worst corners in this draft. That dude is a walking 15-yard penalty. He is absolutely a bust. Every time I turned this guy on and watched him, he was getting called for pass interference. He's
so
handsy.
Much running back.
He's handsy. He gets all, and that's fine. It's fine to be a physical corner, but he gets called for pass interference entirely too often. You know who he reminds me of, Jeff? Ahmad Batman Carroll. This dude is he's gonna give up more 15-yard penalties than he's gonna make big plays.
Yeah, and I feel like McKinney would have been the better pick there. That's where I wanted them to go, that good safety pick. And I really don't know a lot about this guy, so I'll have to wait to see and hear about him. But I really thought safety was the pick for them. I really thought that made sense. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not not sold here. I mean, it's just it's I'm not sure what they're going with there. I'm not sure what they're looking at. I'm not sure what they saw to make them think. I think there was, and I can't remember who they play. I mean, look, there's a perfect example on the play they just showed. I mean, you can face guard in college football. You can't do that in the NFL. You'll get a penalty every time. He's beat on a play. He runs right into the receiver and just throws his hand up without looking for the ball and gets away with it in college. Right. I mean, you can't.
They just sit there and they do this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, can't do that in the NFL. It's a penalty every time.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a really poor pick. That's just a bad pick out of Miami. You could have got him in the 3rd round if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit I've never heard of this guy, so that's full disclosure. Never heard of this guy.
Yeah, he had a series, and when I say series, he had a series. It was, just an offensive drive where he's on the field for Auburn. I want to say this is against LSU, where I believe he got hit for 45 yards of penalties. So not a good sign. You know what I mean? And to take a guy like that in the first round just it's mind blowing to me.
Well, I mean, they had 3 first-round picks, another 2 in the second round, so it's not they didn't have some room to take chances. And if you feel that way about it, then that's what they did.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that pick, especially there are other corners out there you could have had. I mean, you know, you could have, and again, I'm not a huge fan of Trayvon Diggs, but you could have had Cam Dantzler out of Mississippi State. You know, you could have had Christian Fulton out of LSU. You know,
what's his name? The guy I had going early. I swear there's someone else still out there that we both had going earlier.
Who, Jeff Gladney?
Yes, Jeff Gladney.
Yeah. And he just came off the board to the Vikings. Yeah, so there goes Jeff Gladney. So now we're up to the Kansas City Chiefs' last pick of the first round.
Last pick of the first round. Yeah. I'll be back.
All right, so
for the last pick.
So, yeah, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you know, Super Bowl champions, right?
Right.
Running back, they kept basically their whole offense, skill position people together. Everyone, right? Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce, Damian Williams.
Taylor
Swift.
I can't stand that.
So, I mean, basically, they kept their whole offense together. So, if you think you're going to get an offensive player, it has to be either a lineman or a running back or defensive help. Now, they kept Chris Jones on franchise tag for defensive end or linebacker and had Frank Clark under contract. So, their top 2 guys are still good for this year and maybe next year. Cornerback safety is definitely a thing, you know, for Kansas City. But running back, you know, listen, if you told me for fantasy football that Kansas City drafts DeAndre Swift right now, I say he's a top 15, top 20.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
So, yeah, I don't know. I see them going. It wouldn't surprise me if they went and got a guy like Grant Delpit, thinking he's a successor down the road to Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they went safety, or it wouldn't surprise me if they went Christian Fulton. You know, another LSU guy that they would feel comfortable with putting him into coverage with what they have. So I have a feeling that this might be a defensive pick, and Jeff may be right. We're getting out of the first round with no running back.
Yeah, and you know, even less reason to pay a running back, right? Just make up more reasons, you know. Shit. Now you're not even a first round draft pick. You didn't have 3,000 yards. You're 26. No way you should ever get paid. You know, it's so rigged. That's the rigged part. The rigged part is against running backs. Bull crap.
I can see the bourbon's kicking in, Jim. Your eyes have gotten squinty.
Yeah, here we go. There's only one pick left. So
I've been watching you suck down those tall glasses of brown liquor.
Yeah, these are about probably 30-ounce glasses. This is a very big glass. My hand is big, but it's a large glass.
Yeah, that'll get the job done.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I'm looking at Andy Reid. That'll get the job done. Yeah. Look at that shirt. Where did you get that shirt? All right. Over, under. That shirt costs $150. Over, under.
Oh, way under.
Yeah?
Over.
Yeah, way under.
Jeff says over. I say over. That's like a $389, you know, fat guy luxury island shirt. I want it. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want it. It probably feels fantastic.
I bet it does.
It's funny.
It's only the finest slave labor from Taiwanese, you know, cloth. It's great.
Job's back.
Yeah.
I'm not quite I'm not quite sure what Kansas City's doing here. They're getting down to 3 minutes left to pick, and they've had, I don't know, all evening to figure this out.
Yeah. Us to figure it out. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's see. What time is it? Because they probably have to. Oh, it's just after. Dude, we've been at this for 4 fucking hours.
Oh, yeah.
We over 5 because we got on the call before 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was because of the technological things or is the draft always this long? I never really watch it all.
Yeah, I feel like it's always pretty much about this length.
Yeah.
Like about 4 to 4 hours and 15 minutes, somewhere around there. Tomorrow
fingers.
Because tomorrow's second and third round, I believe they do them second and third round. It goes a little quicker, and then when you hit the later rounds, they fly through that. Those games go out so quick.
They've only got a 3-minute clock too.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying there's even teams that, I mean, one pick comes in and the team behind them already has their pick in.
Yeah.
So.
My volume's not on, but I don't know if I can confirm this, but Margaritaville is playing at Andy Reid's house. Right.
Yeah, Chiefs pick is actually in already. So.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Right after I said something about it getting down low, the pick came in. Yep. So. Yeah. You know what? I would have liked to have had Louis Riddick as my GM in Green Bay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Seems solid. I like his. He always seems very logical and really thought out.
Yeah,
and hate your team. That's all.
What's that?
You just hate your team.
Yeah, I mean, after that pick, wouldn't you?
That was.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I love that you hate your team. It's great.
They need a wide receiver so bad. I don't know what happened there.
They could use some offensive line too after losing their starting left tackle they've had for the last 7 years.
All right, let's go, Goodell. Let's make this happen. Last pick.
They love to draw that out as long as they can at the end.
All right, so we will pick this up after the draft ends.
Right.
And then we'll talk about all of it. We'll talk about the rounds that happened after this. Also this round, after we had time to digest it all.
Right.
But right after this pick, we'll call it a night.
Yeah.
And, I got the ball and chain out there getting upset. I've been ignoring her for now 6 hours.
Would you like some teas with that wine?
I can feel the bad vibes coming through the door.
All right, here we go. Here's
tell her to suck it.
Yeah, I tried. All right, what do we got, Chiefs?
All right, you got
DeAndre Swift. I'll pick him.
Oh my gosh, that's a bust pick, dude. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back, LSU.
LSU running back.
That's awful. That is an awful, awful pick. He's not. I'm telling you, he's not even a top 5 running back in this draft. That's bad. That's really bad.
No matter what running back he is in this draft, he's now in line for the starting job for the Kansas City Chiefs, which makes him very fantasy relevant.
The only thing I can come up with is that they drafted him because they like the fact he can pick up blitzes. Listen, I understand he ran the ball effectively and he caught the ball in the backfield effectively. You're talking about a running back that ran a 4.68 40. Not a good sign at the NFL level.
No, not the best sign, but what you got there? Frank family?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cab or Zin? What you got?
Zin.
Yep.
They had them on sale in St. Louis for $23 a bottle.
Nice. You like 35, right?
Yummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice, man. Well, that is a good way to finish it off, guys. I appreciate you both joining us. Mike McNaughton, Jeff Hussein. I'm your host, Jim Neander. You can find this podcast possibly on YouTube. We'll see if I can make it happen.
All
We'll
right.
also
I
find
see
it
that. Children,
on
this is the difference
the
between
podcast.
drinking beer and wine and drinking bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah. 48% alcohol is a different
I had
6-hour drink.
I guess I had 4 of these little ones.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, it's not
that
bad.
looks like a Coronita.
Then I had this big one.
Here's what I know. I hit the
Okay.
big one. I got the most picks right, I'm sure. And we'll see how many. I think I probably hit like 10, maybe 12 in the first round, but I'll
Yeah,
have to count
sounds about right. Sounds
tomorrow.
about right.
Yeah. But hey, great show, guys. I really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the draft this weekend. I'm sure we'll all be talking. And everybody out there in podcast land, we'll see you soon. Have a great time. Enjoy the rest of the draft. Till next time.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.